This is all for educational purposes. If you're not an electrician, you don't know the difference between AC and DC electricity, pay somebody to do it that knows how to do this. Because you can get yourself hurt or killed if you mess with electricity and you don't know what you're doing. I got the VFD all hooked up. These three wires here, these are both the 220, well each one's 110, but it's the 220 lines from the circuit breaker and the ground, and then these are the three-phase outputs, which I just have capped off for the moment. I'm going to do all the VFD programming without the motor plugged in, just to be safe. Got the parameter book here, I got the motor nameplate information there. I'm going to turn the circuit breaker on. So right now this is set to display the frequency, I believe. Yeah, hertz. So it's at 50 hertz. And the knob's maxed out, so the 50 hertz is its maximum setting at the moment. These parameters all have a factory default and they'll tell you what it is. So we gotta go here and then we want to go to P0, P01. It's set for 2. We're gonna leave it at 2. I looked through most of these and I think the defaults, except for one, are pretty good. Command channel, I think they're talking about how the VFD receives commands, so this panel here is going to be what it's talking about in 0. So it's already set to 0. We're going to leave it there. Main frequency source selection is set to 3, which is the local potentiometer. That's this guy here. Same as PO03 frequency source selection, so that's saying it's going to go off that potentiometer. We're going to leave these two the same. Preset frequency. So it's saying that P10 is the maximum frequency, so that's the one we need to change. We want to change that to 60. Oh my god, really? Okay. Go back in. Oh, and it didn't save. So let's go back into 10. Okay, we're back at 60. That's good. There's acceleration time, deceleration time. It says model determination, so who knows what it's set to. So I'm going to go to P17. That's set for 5 seconds. That's fine for now. We'll test it out and see what it does. 18 is the deceleration time, 5 seconds. There again, we'll check and see how it reacts. And this is the very important part. This is where you put in all of your information for the motor off the nameplate. We're going to go into the P1. I'm going to leave 00 alone. We need to put in rated power. So 2.2 kilowatts is a little high. I believe this is a 3 kilowatt unit, or I'm sorry, a 3 horsepower unit. So that's roughly 3 horsepower is roughly 2.2 kilowatts. I got the 1.5 horsepower to kilowatt conversion here. So I'm going to dial it down. .1 is pretty close. Motor rated voltage. Oh, that's 2. 220, yep, that's good. Number 3, motor rated current. It's probably what this number is. 5.5 to 5.2 amps. 2.6 amps at 440. So if you drop the voltage by half roughly, you're doubling your amperage by half roughly. So 2.6 would be, 5.2 to 5.5 is pretty close. I'm going to do 5.2. We'll start with the low number first. Motor rated frequency is number 4. There again, it's set for 50 because the rest of the world uses 50 hertz. Rated speed, 1460 is too high. 1180, 1150. Asynchronous motor, no load current. It's gonna generate that based on its rated current, so that's fine. So I'm going to look through the rest of these real quick and see if there's anything else I need to change. Looking through this, from previous experience, stop mode, decelerate to stop, means the VFD is going to try to slow down the motor and stop it. Free parking. I believe that's let the motor just cut the power and let it decelerate on its own. I would much rather use that. Because I've had, based on other motors I've done, I've had it fault out because it's trying too hard to stop the motor. So I'm just going to change this to 1. That's P610. I'm going to change it to 1. I'm going to exit out of here. Still doesn't want to go up to 60. There might be a maximum frequency setting in here, P012. Yeah, set for 50. I missed that one. Alright, we're going to go back in, make sure, yep, okay. Now we're at 60. I'm going to go kill the breaker. I will hook up these leads to those, and we'll see what happens. So the breaker is off. You heard the fan kick off. They take a minute to turn off for all the electronics inside to discharge power, so it's best to let them sit for a minute to make sure you're not going to zap yourself. So we're going to grab this. And we got, oop. that's kind of... Alright, so we got 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to hook the brown to 1. Industry standard, I believe, for 483 phases, brown, orange, yellow, boy. I know this isn't 480, but this is the wire that I got, so we're going with that for now. It also helps if you always hook up your 3 phases, the same colors, the same order, and it's a standard, so you know that if you see one that's wired and instead of brown, orange, yellow, it's orange, brown, yellow, that's probably a motor that was running backwards. So you swap 2 phases around to make the motor run the other direction. I don't know if I'll have to do that or not. You can reverse directions with a VFD. Hey, quiet girl. But I mean, it's got indicators to tell you what direction it's running in. So if it says it's running forward and it's running backwards, it's best just to correct the mistake at the wiring level so the indicator is the same as what the motor is actually doing. Okay, gonna go turn the breaker back on. You got your run and stop buttons. I actually have this. You can't see it, can you? I'm gonna take it out of the tripod. Okay, so my phone shut off because it was too hot. Can't imagine why. Maybe it's 110 out here. But I have a forward and reverse switch. I tried it. The VFD does not like it. It errored out. So I can't use this to directly power the VFD, but what I can do is I will run these wires straight, like I'll take them off of here and I'll just wire them together so that they go straight to the motor through this MC. And then what I can do is I can run wires from this into VFDs. Have a whole nother set of inputs, and what I can do is I can look through the manual and I can find there will be an input for just run. You start this in the off position, the VFD turns on, and the VFD will not do anything until you hit run. But you can set it up so that this would be your run signal, and that would start the VFD in forward. And then there should also be an input in there that will tell it to run reverse, so I can wire up 2 other wires so that I can use this control. Cause, I mean, it's old, it's cool looking, so I'll use that to do forward and reverse. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the 2 bolts that I got in the motor mount, pull the bolts out, hook that belt back up, bolt the motor back down, and then run it and see what it sounds like. So I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, got it all hooked up. I'm going to go turn the breaker on and see what happens. So what I'm doing here, I know it's kind of noisy. There's a speed control lever here. It's supposed to move a little easier than this. It's supposed to be able to spin it with one hand. It'll probably go a little easier this way. But it sounds like, you know, it needs to move too. But that's adjusting the speed here. And I don't know if you can tell, but when you change that speed, the belts, it's kind of a two-pulley system, but what happens is the motor is running at a continuous speed. This belt's moving at a continuous speed. But what happens when you move this is the center part of the pulley is moving left or right, which either forces this belt out further and this one in further, so that slows it down. So if I go back the other way, you'll see this belt move out and this belt move in. So you're effectively changing the pulley size. Oh, it already works way easier now. So now you can see this belt is like all the way out almost. We're close to, we're about 3/4 speed. So then I'll slow it back down. You'll see the center part move back over. It feels a little sticky, so that stuff probably all needs disassembled and lubricated too. Alright, cool. Alright. That's all I wanted to really get done today, so I'm just gonna do some cleanup, go inside and relax for the rest of the day. So I did a little reading, and this is what I'm gonna use for that forward reverse switch that I have. So here you can pick which terminal you want to use. So I'm just gonna use D11 for forward and D12 for reverse. So I would go into this P4-00 setting, which is D11, and then I would change that to 1, and then I would change P401 to 2. So these are all the different functions that you can pick from. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. So a whole page worth of stuff that you can set to those different inputs. But I'm just going to use the D1 and D2 for now. So it's way quieter without all that stuff running. So I'll probably take a look at that and see what needs lubrication to maybe quiet down a little bit. I have a feeling that yeah, there's a little bit of play there. Not terrible. But I'll see what else is in there that maybe is rattling around and see if I can quiet it down some.